Contributes just 0.5% of global emissions driving climate change, yet bears the brunt of its devastating effects from recurring floods to prolonged droughts. Despite this disproportionate impact, the continent remains largely sidelined on global decision-making and receives only minimal funding for climate adaptation. As the effects of global warming intensify, African climate journalists and leaders are being urged to unite and amplify their calls for fair support from the international community. Channel One News' Akwesiado, who attended a 2-day climate journalism training, reports.
In 2015, the world pledged to limit global warming to below 1.5 degrees Celsius. A decade later, however, temperatures have surged, with projections now reaching 2.8 degrees, a sharp reminder of unmet climate promises. Africa, the world's poorest continent and a minor contributor to global emissions, continues to suffer the most from extreme weather events such as floods, droughts, and heat waves. Yet, its voice remains faint in major international policy decisions. At a 2-day workshop in Addis Ababa, climate journalists received training on effective reporting around climate-induced disasters, adaptation strategies, and financing mechanisms.
This training I'm going back now energized with many skills to be able to articulate and tell a climate change story.
As African journalists, what we learned here is really going to ensure that we tell a better story for all countries, across the country, and what we can be doing to actually inform the public before disasters happen.
A major topic of discussion was geoengineering, innovative but controversial technologies aimed at countering global warming through solar radiation management and carbon removal.
You can ask of Africans to help contribute to solve a problem we didn't create in the first place if we're not going to be afforded the opportunity of finance and clean technology so that we can be able to act accordingly.
Some so-called geoengineers want to experiment with as cooling solutions and all that. Those are important things that, as a journalist, I need to be knowing.
Speaking to Channel One News, Mohamed Ado, climate advocate and CEO of PowerShift Africa, urged African leaders to demand stronger financial commitments for climate adaptation from developed nations. Ahead of COP30 in Belém, Brazil, Ado called on African leaders to collectively push for 1.3 trillion in climate financing, far beyond the 300 billion currently allocated to developing nations. He further stressed that Africa must not remain a passive participant, but should take its rightful place among key decision makers shaping global climate action.
And in our engagement in the global summit, we want to go there and be able to speak with one voice and be able to channel the African voice so that COP30 can actually help secure the level of ambition that is required to effectively be able to tackle climate change.
Africa continues to receive heavy impact from climate change, prompting calls on leadership to make stronger case for climate financing. For the Channel One newsroom, I am Akwesiado, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.